Sweet Christmas, you guys! One of the baddest asses in the Marvel Universe, Luke Cage, is just around the corner from his debut Netflix series, and thanks to a healthy blend of laying down beats and laying beatdowns, the trailers for the show have looked spectacular. Now, while many of us have grown to know and love Harlem's very own Defender and Jessica Jones, many more don't know about Luke Cage's comic book history. Like, why is he important? Why should you care? Does he really say Sweet Christmas? Yes, he does. Well, today on the Dan Cave, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Luke Cage. Created in 1972 by Archie Goodwin, John Romita Sr., and George Tuska, Luke Cage made his debut in the aptly titled Luke Cage Hero for Hire #1. The character itself was Marvel's response to popular blaxploitation films like Shaft and Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. While many of the early storylines may seem problematic nowadays, some 40 years later, Luke Cage's debut was still auspicious because mainstream black superheroes were a rarity at the time. I mean, basically you had Black Panther and the Falcon, and that was pretty much it as far as Marvel was concerned. Luke Cage wasn't just a hero though, he headlined his own comic book, something else that was extremely rare, and his corner of the Marvel Universe was different. It was gritty, it was violent, it was a place that was in desperate need of a hero. Born Carl Lucas, Luke Cage grew up in Harlem, New York, where he and his best friend Willis Stryker became members of the street gang The Rivals, engaging in petty crime and battling rival gang The Diablos. Lucas dreamed of becoming a big-time New York City mobster until he realized how his actions were hurting his family and decided to go legit. Things took a turn though after he saved Stryker from getting beaten to death by the Maja crime syndicate. Jesus, violent guys. Scared by the violence that surrounded him, Stryker's girlfriend Reva Connor sought solace in Lucas, something that did not sit well with Stryker. He believed that Lucas was the cause of their breakup, so Stryker planted heroin in Lucas's apartment and called the cops on him. In other words, total dick move. I thought we were friends, man. And that is where we first meet Lucas in Luke Cage Hero for Hire #1, our hero behind bars incarcerated for drug possession. Once there, Lucas became the favorite target of a sadistic prison guard named Albert Billy Bob Rackham. What a name, Jesus. On one such occasion, Billy Bob took Lucas to solitary confinement and nearly murdered him. It led to old Billy Bob's demotion, which he then blamed on Lucas as well and not his own corrupt ass. Come on, man. A scientist named Dr. Noah Burstein later recruited Lucas as a volunteer for a top-secret experiment that would enhance cellular regeneration in an attempt to replicate the super soldier process. And like any good secret experiment, Burstein lowered Lucas into a tank full of mysterious chemicals and locked him inside. Oh, kind of Stranger Things of him. However, Burstein was soon knocked out by the vengeful Billy Bob Rackham, who kept Lucas locked up in the chemical bath for far longer than was medically advisable, hoping to maim or kill him. Except it didn't kill him, and like the old saying goes, it only made him stronger. Like, incredibly strong. Like, able to lift 25 tons and punch through 4 inches of steel strong. It also gave him a healing factor and nigh invulnerability to most forms of attack. Except words. Words always hurt. I'm looking at you, Jessica Chobot. Using his new powers to escape, Lucas busted out of Seagate and made his way all the way back to New York City, where he stopped a robbery that he accidentally walked in on. After bystanders lavished praise upon his heroics, a light bulb went off. Rather than committing crime, he would wear a costume and fight crime. But not for free. That's a chumps game, son. Lucas printed up business cards, opened an office in Times Square, and officially became Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. Luke was eventually exonerated for his crime, serving New York City as a super-powered soldier of fortune. In his crime-fighting travels, he eventually crossed paths with his old pal, Willis Stryker, who was now working as a Maja agent codenamed Diamondback. Interesting, because they were the ones who tried to beat him to death. Anyway, they had an intense battle which ultimately left Diamondback dead when an explosive dagger he made to kill Luke backfired on him, exploding in his hands. You know, that old chestnut. That old, I stabbed you in the back once before, so what could go wrong if I do it again, chestnut? Don't do it. Now, over the years, Luke Cage would battle many other foes like Chemistro, Stiletto, Shades, Comanche, Gideon Mace, and many more. One battle, though, stands above the rest, towers above the rest, when Luke Cage fought Dr. Doom in Hero for Hire #8 and 9. Believing that Doom owed him money, Luke Cage traveled all the way to Latveria to collect from the Metal Mask Madman, and the results were goddamn legendary. Case in point, Luke Cage's immortal question to Victor Von Doom, "Where's my money, honey?" Where indeed, Luke? Where indeed? In the face of flagging sales, Luke took on a new name with issue #17, Power Man. In addition to his solo series, Luke also popped up as an enemy of Spider-Man when the Daily Bugle hired him to capture old Webhead. He also temporarily joined the Fantastic Four when the Thing lost his powers. But the way that many of us know Luke Cage is from his time as part of a dynamic duo with Iron Fist, Marvel's mystical white guy who's handsome at karate. Hi-ya! The duo first met when Cage was hired to kidnap cop-turned-crime fighter Misty Knight, who just so happened to be Iron Fist's main squeeze. Marvel's attempt to cash in on the kung fu movie craze of the 1970s made for an amazing combination as the street-savvy Luke Cage and the fantasy foo of Iron Fist collided to create some truly bonkers adventures. And oh man, I just got really sad thinking about Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder as Power Man and Iron Fist. That would have been amazing. If we could get someone to build a portal to that dimension, wow, I would pay good money to travel there to see that movie. Now, the other major figure in Luke's life that bears mentioning is Jessica Jones, who would eventually become his wife and the mother of his child. What was a drunken one-night stand turned into a full-blown family and added a brand new dimension to Luke's character. Now he wasn't just concerned with getting paid to do good, he was torn between his superheroic duties and keeping his family safe. And considering how much ass Jessica Jones can kick all by her lonesome, you know that means they're facing some Omega-level threats in addition to leaving enough time for family dinner. I mean, seriously, can you imagine missing family dinner with Jessica Jones? She would pound you into a fine red mist, unbreakable skin or not, man. Jeez. Although Luke Cage is by and large considered to be a street-level hero, he's actually taken part in some of the biggest events in the Marvel Universe. With the Defenders, he kept the streets of New York City safe, fighting alongside the likes of Doctor Strange and the Hulk. During Civil War, he fought alongside Cap and the Secret Avengers, and in the wake of Cap's assassination, he wound up leading the New Avengers, operating underground in a secret base provided by Doctor Strange. After the Siege of Asgard, when Steve Rogers became head of S.H.I.E.L.D., he appointed Luke to be the head of the Thunderbolts, Marvel's equivalent of the Suicide Squad, due to both his experience as a hero and a former convict, because he's the ultimate example of what happens when you give someone a second chance. Luke also eventually bought the Avengers Mansion for $1 from Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, and was given the freedom to recruit his own above-board team. Not bad for a former street tough, I gotta say. So what can you expect from the Netflix show? Well, I'd imagine you're gonna get snatches of Luke's backstory woven into the ongoing narrative of Luke trying to clean up Harlem and free it from the clutches of Cottonmouth, the vicious drug kingpin played by the amazing Mahershala Ali, whose gang will be taking over for the Maja from the comics. We'll definitely be getting some epic Luke versus Diamondback action because we know that Stryker's gonna be in this, and we're also gonna get some Misty Knight to boot. And where there's Misty Knight, could there be Iron Fist? Who knows, but I will actively lose my shit when I see Power Man and Iron Fist together on screen for the very first time. It's gonna be lit.
That's right, we bad. That's right. You don't want no shit either. That's right, darn right.
And that, my friends, is Luke Cage in a nutshell. But tell me, what are your favorite Luke Cage stories? What do you hope to see from the Netflix series? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, give me a powerful thumbs up, man. Sweet Christmas. Be sure to like and subscribe or else you might miss next week's show when I talk about the story of how a British rock band saved an office Christmas party that got taken over by terrorists in a die-hard day's night. Until next time, keep on digging. Let's open up the old mailbag, shall we? At Lost the Numbers asks, Teddy or Mort from Bob's Burgers? My man, this isn't even a question. Teddy all day. Not only can he probably fix my refrigerator, but he's a loyal friend who's always down to grab a juicy burg. At Alice WW90 asks, what is your favorite Harvest Moon game? Oh man, Alice, you just sent me spiraling down a nostalgic wormhole. And I gotta say, Harvest Moon Back to Nature for the PS1. It was the first one I played outside of the Game Boy Classics, and it was just this amazing blend of farming simulator RPG and just delightful Japanese weirdness. It's still this sort of calming Zen-like experience. I mean, I can't recommend it enough. If you get the chance, please play it. At TDK Retweets asks, what past movie do you think would actually have benefited from having Nicolas Cage as part of the cast? Oh, great question. I gotta say the answer is 2006's Crank. And sure, you might be saying, but Dan, Jason Statham rules! And yes, he does rule. But the filmmakers revealed in 2011 that they originally wrote the part of Chev Chelios as Nick Cage. Now just imagine how goddamn amazing that would be. But tell me, do you agree? Do you think I'm on the money? Or what movie do you think would be made even better by the addition of Nick Cage? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.